I had a customer say that they would drive by here and they would roll up their windows because they were like, okay, not going to the city market today.
Now at 6, business owners say issues with litter and illegal activity outside of City Market are starting to impact their cash flow. What they think needs to be done to fix it.
Through painting this mural, I found healing. Talking with the community, I found healing.
A local artist says using his paintbrush, he was able to take part in movement towards unity just ahead. His take on the murals in downtown that surfaced in response to destructive protest. And fireworks will light up the sky this 4th of July weekend, but with many professional shows being canceled, you may be putting on your own display, working for you with tips to keep you and your family safe.
This is RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
And thank you for joining us. I'm Amanda Starrentino. Excessive litter, fights, and drug use, those are some of the things business owners at City Market say they deal with on a daily basis. Now, some say it's starting to impact their cash flow. Megan Singtorm explains what business owners want to see done to fix it. Now, some city organizations are responding.
It's a problem some vendors here say keeps getting worse. They describe the area as dirty and dangerous. This is what it looks like outside of City Market some mornings.
Unacceptable. It's just filled with trash, filled with human feces, filled with urine, filled with drug use.
The amount of garbage and other things that were done to the space was just sad. It was heartbreaking.
A mess left behind and illegal activity that continues throughout the day.
Every week I have at least 3 customers who call me to tell me that they've driven by the market and they were afraid to get out of their cars, so they just left.
According to police reports, there have been cases of theft, battery, trespassing, vandalism, and narcotics investigations, all at this location, all in the past 2 months.
This isn't just an issue of perception that it might be dirty. It is dirty. It's not a perception that it's not safe. It isn't safe. So this is a much bigger issue than just a homelessness.
Cynthia Hawkins owns Circle City Suites. She says maintenance crews spend hours cleaning. Members of Downtown Indy's Street Ambassador program also help clean the public spaces around the market.
Some of the activity at the city market needs to be attended to with a more coordinated approach with multiple agencies coming together. That is underway. Those conversations continue.
But for right now, some want immediate action.
It's going to take more security, 24-hour security. It's going to take more money. It's going to take a lot. And it's going to be hard for that to just go into gear and happen. It's not going to happen overnight. I understand that. But that's what needs to be done.
Working for you, Megan Sanctorum, RTV6.
Leaders with City Market say 24-hour security is something they are looking into. They say they are also working with IMPD, and officers are doing more sweeps of the area. They say they've met with other organizations and city leaders and are working on a more long-term solution. And following destruction and frustration, we saw local artists turn to the boards used to cover broken windows into beautiful works of art. Troy Washington is working for you to explain how downtown has transformed into an art gallery and if the art will stick around.
Here at the intersection of Illinois and Michigan, there's a site that makes most do a double take. It's a mural that Andrew Parnell took this board used to cover a broken window and turned it into a canvas.
There's some historical context to this whole project because this is an expression of what Indiana did with their angst and their anger, frustration. We chose to do something positive. The artists came together and we reflected our frustrations and our voices.
Following destructive protests, artwork like this started to pop up. Andre Parnell is proud because he was able to let his heart speak through his paintbrush.
I was seeking a way, how do I express myself? I was a bit depressed because me being 50 years old, I knew I couldn't be in the streets marching. I couldn't be yelling at the top of my lungs and really shouting down someone about my ideas. So I said, what is my voice? And the Arts Council came up with an idea that answered just that.
Through the Art Council and other volunteers, he got his chance to really process the pain and hurt stemming from the loss of George Floyd and the unrest across the nation.
Through painting this mural, I found healing.
The vision behind the mural speaks to unity, an important message going into Independence Day weekend.
I think this will drive us forward, and the ultimate message here is we rise together.
Working for you downtown, Troy Washington, RTV6.
And the Arts Council also has an indie arts guide that keeps record of murals, so it is very possible the murals will be archived in some way. Kyle.
Amanda, we are back into the 90-degree heat this afternoon. We made it to 91 in Indianapolis, and yeah, that's above average. Certainly, the average high is 85. So this is typically our hottest time of the year, and we are going to continue with more 90s than 80s over the next several days. Still in the low 90s right now, Muncie and Lafayette at 91, 86 for you in the Columbus area, and 88 in downtown. As we look at the bigger picture here, you see quite a bit of heat. Now, there is a little bit of a cool pocket here around Kansas City and Springfield, Missouri. That's also where they have a little bit of rain. We are not going to be getting into that as high pressure continues to scoot across central Indiana, and it's really not going to be in a hurry to leave. So this evening, maybe you're heading out to the drive-in, taking advantage of some of the dry weather that we've got. Look at these temperatures. We are still around 80 degrees with those clear skies at 10 o'clock tonight. For the holiday weekend, yeah, we are back into that stretch of heat with heat index values at times going to be around 100 degrees in the extended forecast with those slim rain chances. We'll detail your 4th of July forecast in just a few minutes.
And the new numbers on COVID-19 are just in from the state health department. They are showing that slight increase that Governor Holcomb and others have been warning about. The state reported 541 new cases of coronavirus today, along with 19 new deaths. Both of those numbers are up slightly from previous days. The state says the good news is that intensive care bed capacity in hospitals is improving. The vacancy rate is now above 40%. And a reminder, the state is offering free COVID testing to anyone who lives or works in Indiana. There are no other requirements. You can register at lhi.care/COVID testing or by calling 888-634-1116. And Indiana is among the first states to have access to a new home test kit for COVID-19. The kits will be available through Kroger. A Kroger spokesperson says the testing solution combines the safety and convenience of at-home sample collection with the expert guidance of a telehealth consultation. Kroger Health's COVID-19 test home collection kit will be available across Kroger's family of companies based on medical need. The goal is to process up to 60,000 tests per week by the end of July. Visit the Kroger website for more details. And looks like ongoing concerns over the coronavirus won't hamper students' return to school sports and activities next week. In the guidance provided by the Indiana Department of Education, the return to student activities is expected to happen in 3 stages starting Monday. Off-season fall workouts will begin, and marching bands across the state are also getting back to the practice field. But student participation won't look like it did a year ago. State athletic and music associations are still monitoring the toll of the virus and warn that even after activities start back up, they could still be put on hold once the academic year begins. And with widespread cancellations of fireworks shows in central Indiana, more people have bought their own fireworks to set off at home for this 4th of July weekend. First responders say that means it's likely they will see more injuries from those fireworks this year. Today on Good Morning Indiana, Carmel firefighter Tim Griffin demonstrated how big fireworks like mortars can cause serious injuries. He says even something as innocent looking as sparklers can do severe damage to kids.
They burn at such a high rate, 1,500 degrees, that even after they're out, they're still so hot. And we're at a cookout. The kids are barefoot. They set them down. They step on them. Well, we hand them to kids thinking, it's just a sparkler. I did it growing up. But they can easily touch any of their clothing, which could burn, singe, and cause them burn.
Griffin says you should also not drink alcohol while shooting fireworks, as that can lead to impaired judgment. And if you think a firework is a dud, you need to wait several minutes before submerging it in water because it could reignite. And a reminder, if your neighbors are not obeying fireworks ordinances, do not call 911. Many dispatch centers across the country are overwhelmed with non-emergency calls this time of year. If lines are busy with firework complaints, it takes time away from true emergencies. And in those situations, minutes can be the difference between life and death. You can call the non-emergency line instead. And pet owners, keep this in mind. The celebration usually leads to more lost pets than any day of the year because so many are scared of fireworks. Experts recommend talking to your vet about anti-anxiety medication to make the day less stressful for them, and keep your pet inside for the night to lower the chance of them running off. And if you want to see a list of the communities that are still providing fireworks this weekend, head to our website, theindychannel.com. The Rebound Indiana is our commitment at RTV6 to make sure you get through the pandemic. After the break, a hospitality industry professional share how he's adapting to this new normal.
An unusual day at the Indianapolis Motorspeedway. They're racing here, but there's no fans to see it. But a familiar result at the end of IndyCar qualifying. I'm Brad Brown live at IMS. We'll recap that and give you a look around coming up on the news at 6.
And it looks like the heat is here to stay a while. The July outlook calling for above average temperatures. I'll let you know if we will see any break in that 90-degree heat. You're watching RTV6 News at 6.
Weekdays from 4:30 to 7. This is RTV6 News at 6, working for you.
The Rebound Indiana is our commitment at RTV6 to make sure you get through the pandemic. At RTV6, we're following 6 people who work in the hospitality industry, which has been among the hardest hit during this pandemic. Of our 6 people, 5 filed unemployment at some point. Tonight, Rafael Sanchez spotlights a man keeping a positive attitude, balancing the new normal.
David's comp was dressed to cater to big crowds at the Indiana Roof Ballroom in Indianapolis.
It came so suddenly, but at the same time, we have to adjust. We have to be careful. We have to take precautions.
That job is on hold. Luckily, he has a full-time job in retail as well, but that's been impacted by COVID-19.
It's been slow. We've had hours and our pay cut some, but at least I'm thankful for the employment.
David has not had to file for unemployment and has been focused on his mental health to get through the moment. Hiking with friends in state parks, completing a virtual 5K at the start of May. And he's keeping connected with friends with weekly Zoom meetings.
I'm doing pretty well myself. I'm feeling healthy. Just tell others, hey, things are going to be okay. We have to maintain a positive attitude. We have to just really look at the positive things, check in on each other.
Working for you, Rafael Sanchez, RTV6.
And good news for David. Starting in June, he went back to full-time hours at his retail job. Visit Indy tells me that 50% of the 83,000 people who depend on tourism jobs are currently unemployed. Their goal is for safe reopening for workers and visitors. Kyle.
Sure, we're going to have a lot of people outdoors this weekend because we got the holiday weekend and we also have some pretty nice weather. But yeah, it is going to continue to be hot out there. We got a lot of blue sky, some hazy sunshine, just a couple of clouds out there. No threat of rain in the Friday forecast as temperatures are now in the upper 80s in downtown, but still lower 90s. Kokomo and Muncie at 91. As we have this north and easterly component to the wind that's keeping the humidity in check for now. It's only been about 30 to 40% throughout the afternoon, but hot is hot, right? 70 degrees for the overnight. So even during the overnight hours, temperatures are not going to be cooling that much. We'll still need the AC running or the fan there with those temperatures again around 70 under mostly clear skies. Maybe heading off to the pool tomorrow. That'll be a nice and popular place to be as we'll have temperatures already close to 90 degrees at noon here, getting into the lower 90s. Touch more humidity, so I think we'll have those heat index values into the mid-90s. Notice as we go into the afternoon, chance for a pop-up shower or thunderstorm, but otherwise the UV index is going to be very high, so make sure you've got that sunscreen tomorrow and really through the next week and beyond there. As we look at those high temperatures for your Saturday afternoon, 94 degrees in Columbus, so it may be a degree or two warmer than what we had today. 94 in Bloomington and 91 in the Peru and Kokomo areas. As we look at TrueCast here going into the early afternoon, the heating of the afternoon, the clouds will start to build. You'll notice a little more vertical development to those tomorrow, and a couple may develop into some downpours across central Indiana. Possibly a couple of thunderstorms out there. Not anticipating any severe weather, but also these storms that do develop aren't going to be moving all that quickly. So they'll kind of sit there, rain themselves out, and then fade away. But as we go toward sunset and beyond, I think they will quickly fade, and that is good news for fireworks viewing tomorrow evening. By 10 o'clock, we've got partly cloudy skies. I think will be dry. 82 will be the temperature, so it stays very warm for us. And going into our Sunday, Actually, the rain chances are a little bit less, I think, here. Just a spotty shower or storm into the afternoon. As temperatures with sunshine will get to 87 at noon, and we'll get back into the lower and maybe even a couple of middle 90s out there as we go throughout our Sunday. As high pressure is going to continue to stay over our portion of the country, and that allows the heat to just build here. Going into Monday, I think that may be the peak of the heat for us with a high temperature of 95, but at that point, the humidity's back as well. So I think we'll be talking about heat index values early next week around 100 degrees. 7-day planning forecast as we put it all together for you, and it really doesn't change much. This is a 7-day full of highs in the 90s, lows in the 70s. That isolated rain chance through Monday, a little better chance for a pop-up shower or thunderstorm by Tuesday and Wednesday. And then it looks like as we get in toward the end of the week with Friday, a 30% chance of rain there as well.
A big weekend at the Speedway. Brad Brown is live at IMS to give us a look.
Hey, Amanda, before we do that, we're going to give a quick note about the Pacers today. Some important news. Victor Oladipo says he will not play with the team this summer in Orlando. He had said back on Wednesday when he talked to the media he was undecided, but he has now made the conclusion that he will not be playing in the summer season. He's going to go ahead and continue rehab on his leg injury and pick it up next fall with the new season. He will make the trip to Orlando with the team. They leave next Thursday and play their first game down there on August 1st. Now we welcome you back here to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What an interesting day it was here. When we came in here this morning, the first thing we did when we came in the north end of the track was a temperature check. We've been wearing masks around here for the most part, up on top of this Holman Terrace Club, on top of what is turn 4, the oval here at the top of the front stretch. And then we got a chance to check out the IndyCar and Xfinity series on the road course here today. It was the IndyCar qualifying that just wrapped up here within the last 45 minutes, and that session really kind of the highlight of the day after the teams had an early 90-minute practice session this morning. Qualifying with the final 6 in the final round, it was defending series champion Joseph Newgarden locking up the tires down in turn 1. That took him out of the opportunity to win a pole position. He will start 6th. Jack Harvey going for his first career IndyCar pole, actually went out early in the 5-minute session and set the quick time. Looked like he might be the one to start up front, but as the time wound down, the last guy across the line was Will Power, and he does it again for the 4th time at this race and the 58th time, second all-time in his IndyCar career. He'll start from the pole position. The last 3 times Power started on pole in this race, he won it. We take a look at the rest of the top 6, and it'll be Power and Harvey on the front row. The rest of the top 6 will include Colton Herta and Graham Rahal in row number 2. And joining Newgarden in row 3 will be Oliver Askew, the rookie, starting 5th for tomorrow's race. As for Power, we asked him afterwards if it gets any easier to start up front in races like this.
Young blokes are so fast. Look at him. Look at the first 6. You got a rookie in there. You got Jack. He's pretty much the rookie in IndyCar. Yeah, no, it doesn't get easier. It just got harder. I've got less and less poles per year as I've gone on.
Green flag will be just after noon tomorrow. We'll have a recap for you Saturday on the news at 6. Earlier at 5, we gave you kind of a tour of some of what's new around the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Well, Dave First is down in it working with IndyCar Radio this weekend, and he gives us an exclusive look inside at what's fresh at IMS this summer.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the newly renovated, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. No fans this weekend, but I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to see some of the changes that Roger Penske has made and laid out and planned ever since the announcement late last year. And one of them, new video boards. And at the base of the pagoda, you can see the biggest of the big new video screens. It'll show telemetry, it'll show placings, it'll have all of that and more, highlights of the races. Not a bad place to hang out, either in May or here in July. And ever since there was the announcement last November about Roger Penske taking over the Speedway, there's been some talk about adding other racing series throughout the course of the year. Formula One has come up more than once. For now, though, it's not Formula One. It's the IndyCar series that has taken over the old Formula One garages, just like NASCAR has done the last several years here. And as the sign says, please practice social distancing, and we're doing exactly that. I also want to show you before we wrap up what Victory Podium looks like nowadays. Gone is just the entryway to it. Now, Roger and the staff here at the Speedway have put together this lift that the winning car will go on, lift up to the top of Victory Podium, and then be on display with the champion, the Brickyard this weekend, IndyCar race, and certainly the Indy 500 coming up August 23rd. The countdown is definitely on for that. I know everyone here looks forward to having fans back at the Speedway.
Dave, indeed we are. We'll be doing some of this up here amongst ourselves as well. Coming up Saturday, IndyCar Grand Prix, the Xfinity Series race on the road course. We'll recap those for you. And, of course, the Brickyard 400 coming up on Sunday to finalize this weekend here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We'll see you back here then. Time for another break. Back to wrap up the news at 6 next.
Scenes like this have been normal in Noblesville during the 4th of July holiday. This year, with coronavirus in our midst, the city still plans to have a parade, but with some adjustments. For example, parade participants will not be allowed to hand out or distribute anything to the crowd. This includes walking and motorized entries. Noblesville Mayor Chris Jensen says the city is doing its part to make this a fun and safe event, but they need a little help from residents too.
We felt very comfortable that this is all outdoors. We'll have all hands-on-deck operation from our emergency management personnel. We'll have hand sanitizing stations in place, so we feel like we can, as long as people take personal responsibility tomorrow and make sure to take care of themselves and their neighbors, we can have a safe July 4th in Noblesville.
The 4th of July parade begins at 4:30 tomorrow. Thanks so much for making RTV6 your choice for news. We'll be back here for the news at 7. We'll see you then.